a few days ago, you made a post on LinkedIn that I wanted to dive in. It's about the things people recognize as leaders. And I do see this go the wrong ways where managers, they recognize the wrong things, which reinforce the wrong behaviors. I think especially in sales organizations, we see this when the only thing that people are paying attention to is the end goal and not how do we achieve this goal.
Yeah.
But what do you see? I guess what are the mistakes you see people make? Let's start there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give a shout out to my mentor, Kevin Dorsey, KD. And one of the things, this must have been a webinar he was on, and he was talking about the importance of recognizing the behaviors that you want to see regardless of the result. So if we're only focusing on the results alone and we're not really paying attention to the pathways to get there, a couple of things can happen. Number one, someone might be on the path of progressing towards achieving those results, and every moment they haven't achieved that result, they're freaking out. They're full of anxiety. And that's not going to be something that's conducive to sustainable performance. And then on the other side of that, though, you might have people who have really poor behaviors, like really poor practices, but they somehow figure out some way to be successful. I'm a sales leader, and so one of the things that can happen is someone just goes, all right, I'm going to spray and pray everybody in my book of business. I'm going to get a couple ops here and there. I'll get some deals, and therefore my way works. You fast forward some time and you realize they've burned through their entire book. They've gone on everybody's spam list as well, and now they are royally effed. So making sure that you understand what are the set of behaviors or string of behaviors that are needed to be demonstrated to achieve that result, and then making sure that people are kind of aligning to that and providing that positive reinforcement. This is what enables the people on your team to be really successful over the long term.
I think especially with the current generation of workforce who grew up on video games, right? There's this immediate, like, I do this thing, I am rewarded for it immediately. So we are kind of trained to look for that. And so if you're doing the right thing and not getting the result you want, it's really easy to assume that what I did was wrong. I got to change the path. So as leaders, we can reinforce that. Like, you're doing the right thing. It just is going to take consistency, probably some slight tweaks, but like the core of what you're doing is right. Stay on the path to give them that motivation to keep trying, not quiet quit, not actually quit, not start calling out for work because they're just overwhelmed and anxious that they're not getting the results that they need to keep their job.
100%.
So how do we do it? How do we shift that lens? And what's the right way? What should people be doing?
So I've known about situational leadership for a few years, and the company that I work for, Culture Amp, we went through a training. Our head of sales, or one of our sales enablement heads, came in and did a workshop on situational leadership. And one of the takeaways that I got from it was this idea of you really want to show your people how to do the work, right? And then you want to give them opportunities to practice doing the work. And these two areas, I think, are the most key when talking about you really want to reinforce the right behaviors. So, because what this requires you to do as a leader or as a manager is to understand, like, what does it take to actually be successful and to net this result? Because if you have no idea, like, what the processes are, what the workflows are, what the steps are, number one, you're never going to be able to really coach your people on how to get to that result. Secondly, the only thing that you'll be able to drive and reinforce is the result because you don't know anything else. And I think the worst case scenario of all this is without having a true understanding or some level of familiarity of what it takes to be successful at this one task, you risk making decisions that will actually make it way harder to be successful in your environment. So I think that's kind of where you want to start. So first and foremost, you really want to show your people how the work needs to be done. And then the second part, in terms of coaching or giving people the opportunity to practice, and this might look like a shadow session or a side-by-side. So again, for the role that I'm in, maybe one of the things that I really want to do with my folks is show me how you find your target accounts, right? If we're in a remote setting, just pull up screen share and show me your screen. If we're sitting side by side, right? Like, just pull up your laptop and let's see how it goes, and allow the person just to show you how they go about the work. If you already have an understanding of ways to make it more efficient or more effective, you can give them that feedback. Or if you have somebody who's new to the process who might be feeling a little bit insecure because they just don't know if they're doing it right or not, they don't know if the process works yet, you can offer them affirmative feedback. So like, hey, Jacob, you're doing great. So even if you're like, I don't know if this is the right thing to do, it's like, no, you're doing exactly what you need to do. And you want to get them continue to do that until both your person or your employee, right, and you feel really comfortable in what they're doing. And then they're now doing things all on their own without the need for you to affirm them along the way. So I think this whole piece around like, let me kind of show you how to do it. Let me tell you like when you're doing things right, when you're kind of off the track, and then you now show me, like that's a really, really nice flow to make sure that people are aware of what they need to do, how they need to do it, and they're also being given the opportunity to work through any kinks that might come up.
I love it. And something that I feel like is valuable to take away from that initial coaching session is that really the focus of that is you want to set yourself up for success to be able to recognize them. You want them to really understand with complete clarity and have confidence in their ability to execute in this thing that you're asking them to do so that you can follow up, observe them do it, and then make a big deal, recognize like, hey, you did it. You want that to be the message. Like you're on the fence about it. You're a little hesitant to jump in, but you did it. You did a great job. Like keep doing that. And if you can do that, like have people leaving that with that feeling, this person believes in me, I can do hard things. You're going to create problem solvers on your team. That just sort of focus is going to have benefits in a lot of different areas beyond just that action that you're focused on in that moment.
Yeah. And I think there's also something here about like when you're able to demonstrate some level of, it doesn't have to be full on technical mastery, but some level of familiarity or proficiency, I should say, in the task that you want your people to do, that will imbue a greater sense of confidence from your people in you. So I know if I am in my role and I go to my manager and I say, hey, listen, I know you want me to do this thing and I'm really running into some big challenges and this is where I need your help. And my manager goes, well, I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, what the hell? And you're going to hold me accountable to something that you yourself don't even know how to do or understand what's going on, right? Or even to the other, like the worst case scenario is you roll something out that's actually not applicable to the work that your people do and their style of work as well. That's one of the easiest ways to lose trust from your people.
The competence piece, right? I can't remember who said it, but they said trust is it's character and competence. Like you have to have both. You have to act with integrity. You have to do the things you say you will, but you also have to show that you're competent in your role and you're able to actually do the things that you're saying you're going to do. So
yeah.
Do